He's editor-in-chief of Breitbart News and a New York Times best-selling author. And on this podcast, he brings deep research, prescient analysis, and world-class guests. He's Alex Marlow, and this is the Alex Marlow Show.
All right, it's an October Friday, so it feels like a good day for an Alex and Friends show. There's no better friend of mine than my real-life godfather, John Nolte. John is our senior writer for Breitbart News, covers culture, politics, media, etc. for us. John, happy spooky season to you. So it's Friday, so what do you got teed up for the weekend? I'm sure you're watching some movies. What's the plan?
Well, actually, we're leaving tomorrow morning. We're going on a 2-week camping trip to New Orleans. We're going to be going for 2 weeks. So we're going to be in New Orleans for Halloween. A friend of mine is actually getting married on Halloween next week, Friday. So we're excited about that. We've had 2 aborted camping trips. We were going to take a month-long trip in March, all packed, all hooked up, except for the food in the refrigerator. And my mom ended up, she's fine now, but she ended up in the hospital. So that queered that.
Oh, no.
And then we were supposed to go last month with a friend of mine, caught up with from high school. I haven't seen her in 40 years. My wife and I were going to go camping with her and her husband in West Virginia for about 4 days. And my camper electricity was shot and the water heater was, so I had to get all that fixed. So we usually travel 2 months a year in our camper, and this is going to be our first trip this year. So we're excited.
I'm curious about the Halloween wedding because it sounds fun, but then your anniversary is also a holiday. I was thinking about this, about how it was really important to me for all my children that I tried to avoid them being born on, let's say a J6. I didn't want them to have to deal with that 9/11. Like I really feel like that'd be such a curse to have that.
October 7th.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good. So I feel like you should avoid it. I mean, maybe there's a novelty to you're born on a holiday, but then wouldn't ultimately it start competing with the actual birthday?
Yeah. My wife is born on the same day as Barack Obama, so imagine living with that.
I just find, though, the best one, though, is Charlie Kirk being born the same day as George Floyd. So we can hijack that for all of eternity. Really, we got to make it the Charlie Kirk holiday. We have to. It's got to be. We got to do it. We got to get it done.
Yeah, totally flip it. Yeah. My birthday falls in the same day as Michael Caine, so that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good. He's a good actor. He's in a lot of good movies.
One of my favorites.
I wonder, does anyone have a longer IMDb than that guy? I mean, I feel like how many. Because he had so many character roles where there probably weren't, 9 months of commitment to all of his roles. So I bet you he's got about 100 million credits.
Dennis Miller used to make a joke that he was watching his wedding videos and Michael Caine was in it. Because he was in.
That's so funny because I never heard that joke, and I make very similar jokes than I probably made them to you about how I start noticing certain actors in my home movies. Like now for me, it's Pedro Pascal.
Yeah,
it's like I video my kids T-ball and Pedro Pascal's in there for some reason.
Yeah, he's in there,
Yeah, like, well, when did we get Pedro Pascal fever? We just got it. We're just like, he has to be in everything. I need to get permission to, I can't film a ballet class without Pedro Pascal. It's got to be in it. He's got to get a royalty check.
Yeah, before that it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So
yeah, you called that one. I remember that. One. That was my that was your retort to when I said it was Jude Law for a while. It was like 20 years ago. Like there was every movie Jude Law to be in it. It's just interesting how we get those. You got to get lucky. Oh, who's another guy right now? Glenn Powell. I had a run where I watched like 3 movies in a row, and all of them had Glenn Powell in it. They're completely different types of movies. Like one was a romantic comedy, one was kind of a dark comedy, and one was a action movie. They're all just like we just decided. Top Gun's a pretty good movie. I liked the second Top Gun.
Oh, that's right. He's in. I forgot he's in there.
And I like the Richard Linklater one. The Hitman. That was a good movie. Did you see Hitman?
I did. It was entertaining. I don't think I'd see it again. It didn't stick with me. It was okay.
Home Netflix deal, but it was good.
Yeah.
So what are you watching now? What's good now? You see anything out that you can recommend?
I'm going to go see the Bruce Springsteen movie this afternoon, so I can review that for Breitbart.
Good. And that'll be premium. John's reviews, we put him for our Fight Club members and we'll make some of them available, I think next year, just for general pop. But you guys got to subscribe. The Fight Club's an amazing place. We do a lot of premium content there, and you get all John's reviews, which is he sets the tone. Like your review of the latest Paul Thomas Anderson movie, which we talked about at the Breitbart show, Breitbart Confidential, one battle after another. I think that set the tone for the whole conservative movement. I think everyone basically took all of your marching orders on that.
Yeah, it was, and it's just not that great of a movie. I did see a movie on pay-per-view last week called Guns N' Moses, which I reviewed, and I really liked. It was made by a friend of mine, and when it was coming out, he asked me to review it, and I told him no, because I tell all my friends no, because what if I don't like it? What do you want me to do?
It's tough.
So, but it was on pay, so I thought, okay, I need to review a new movie for Breitbart, and there's nothing in the theater. So I bought it, and I thought, well, if I don't like it, I don't have to tell them I saw it, and I don't have to review it. But it was really good. It's about the overall theme is it's time for Jews to arm themselves and fight back. But he does it so subtly. His name is Salvatore Litvak. He does it so subtly that within the world of the story, it makes sense. But the theme is really good, and it's an entertaining movie, and there's a lot of Neil McDonough's in it. I have such a bad memory. I can see his face, but there's a lot of name actors in it, and it's well made, well shot, well directed, and very, very entertaining. So I'd recommend people see that if they get a chance.
So do you have, when it's fall comes around, and we just got fall last like 24 hours here where I live, it was hitting the 90s last week. Do you have any go-to fall vibes movies? They don't have to be great movies, but like, do you have any that you think that just speaks fall?
No,
to
mainly
me?
I get excited about, we watch horror movies in October mainly. So that's what we've been doing. We just watched the Amityville Horror, and we watched Let Me In, which is a great vampire movie. A lot of
I got two questions about so Amityville Horror is terrible, right? I mean, I watched it once. The premise is amazing, but the movie's not good, right?
No, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the movie. Its reputation is actually growing now a little bit. You may want to give it another chance, but I love looking at Margot Kidder in 1979. She was just an astonishment, and that helps a lot. Plus, I have memories of it because I saw it in the theater. And I remember the whole Amityville cultural phenomenon when I was 11 and 12 when the book came out.
Yeah.
So
this is actually, that's a perfect example also, because like for me, the one of my fall go-to movies that I'll put on is Halloween 4. Which I don't know if Halloween 4 is an amazing movie or anything. I just know that it just like that opening scene is like, that is fall to me. Like that is, it is here. Spooky season is here. And Halloween 1 is a much better movie. I think Halloween 2 is probably a little bit better. And some of the remakes I think have been good. We could do an hour on just the Halloween movies. Halloween 3 I think is a masterpiece, but it's Halloween 4 is just like, that's fall.
If we watch Halloween 4, 5, and 6, that's the Thorne trilogy. Mm-hmm. Where they try to create this whole backstory for Michael Myers, and it's got some really good. Those movies are those original Halloween movies, not the remakes, but the original Halloween movies are so beautifully shot. They're just fun to watch, just to look at. But the Thorne trilogy I enjoy very much. Yeah.
So and then Let Me In, that's the remake of the European vampire movie. I think I've seen both of them. Do you have a preference? Because I remember them being pretty similar, but I think I like the original. Let the Right One In better.
They're really both great. We watched the Swedish one at the beginning of the month, and I just got the new one, or the American one, not new anymore, 2010. So we watched that a couple of days ago, and I'd seen it before, and I remember liking it. But seeing them so close together, I was very impressed at how the plot is the same, but Matt Reeves, who directed the American one, he also did the Batman and the latest Planet of the Apes trilogy before the last one. But he got the same mood and atmosphere, but added things to it that still surprised you. So I thought they were both just terrific. I'd have to probably watch them back to back. But they're both very, very original and entertaining and engrossing movies. Plus, they're scary. They shock you in parts with the violence.
Yeah, really good. And that last scene, I watched Let the Right One In, the Swedish one, many times. I've only seen the remake once, and I did like it. I remember liking it, but I don't remember the specifics of it. But I do remember like that the last scene of Let the Right One In has got to be one of the best closing scenes. The maybe it's not the last, maybe it's the penultimate scene. One of the most satisfying moments in horror history, I would say.
You're talking about the pool.
I'm talking about the pool scene. That's correct.
Yeah. It's so sad because you think she's gone, and all of a sudden she comes back.
She's not.
You know, you make the worst bullies.
Yeah.
You make the most hateful bullies you can get.
So some people who even listen to my show probably don't know that I'm some of my free time is dedicated to movies, particularly horror movies. I've got a little preference for that. And I was thinking about this, John, do you have not like a top 5, but do you have like a handshake 5 horror movies where if you wanted people to get a sense of your sensibility, what would be if they had a long weekend, like what you'd recommend that they check out? They want to get a sense of what you like.
I would say the original Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr., Near Dark, the vampire movie that Catherine Bigelow directed. Definitely Dawn of the Dead, the George Romero zombie movie. Last House on the Left, Wes Craven's first movie, which is just, you can watch that or watch Harry, Portrait of a Serial. They're all these these movies that just leave you hollowed out, but Last House on the Left is probably the first, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I guess
I do think of those two together, and I don't know if it's because you and I have talked about it over the years. If we did, it was many years ago, but I think of those as just so bleak and dark, but also just searing in terms of
they just nail you. And I would add a Vincent Price movie that he made with Roger Corman and a Hammer movie. And that's pretty much the whole genre, really. But those are the ones I go to every year. And there's so many of them, I don't have to repeat them every year because my wife would go crazy. But
what is the Vincent Price one? The Edgar Allan Poe remake where he's in the castle and there's all the vivid colors.
Master of the Red Death.
That one is so good. That's fantastic.
It's just fantastic.
I would recommend that one if people want to.
Yeah, of all of them, that's just a shocking, and it's just a great movie. It's not campy. It's a shocking movie, and it's beautifully filmed.
I would say right now there's a couple of horror movies that are recent that are really good. So might even still be in theaters. Sinners, Ryan Coogler, who did the Black Panther, really good, and Weapons, which is a horror comedy.
Yeah,
which leans heavier on the horror than the comedy, I would say, but is a horror comedy and has a satisfying ending. So you don't have to. So it could be a gateway for someone. It's definitely one that you can bring your girlfriend or wife to that one, and I think they could handle it. But definitely the two best movies I've seen this year, and they're both horror movies.
Yeah, no question. I can't even add to that. I agree 100%, and I can't wait to see them both again.
Yeah. I was thinking Weapons in particular. That's going to be. Yeah. I might technically rank Sinners a little higher, but Weapons is like immediate rewatch. Like once I get my hands on that. So I agree with that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's out there for anyone who's interested. I think it's important because I get to. It feels like. There's a lot of really good modern horror movies, but I always think about which ones am I inclined to rewatch. And if I was trying to tell people, if people just need that sort of fresh aesthetic, what do you think of this century? What are your top couple that you would recommend to people?
Yeah, definitely Sinners and Weapons. Let Me In Again. And, I liked that Invisible Man movie. That came out about 5 years.
Really? I skipped that one. That's the is that the guy who did the Saw movies, the Insidious movies? Who did that one?
Yeah, it's a Blumhouse movie, and it stars that girl from
Lee Whannell. I think he did the Saw movies. Yeah, that's interesting, and some of the Insidious movies, both of them.
Yeah, they do a good job with that, and it's plausible, and it's got some really good scares.
Cool.
So that one I would recommend. I really enjoyed Nosferatu. It's actually in my mailbox right now. I'm going to watch it tonight, hopefully.
The new one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. I thought that was well done. Even though I love the original, the silent, and I love Herzog's version,
which I've not seen.
Yeah, they're both fantastic, but they're very different the way that they're presented. That's the beauty of the Dracula story, is that you recognize the story beats, but you can change it enough. Like last night, we watched the Frank Langella version of Dracula, 1979 one. And it's all the story beats are there, but they change it enough that it's like watching a story you really like told differently. And Nosferatu, I thought did a really good job. I was surprised at how well it turned out. And now that guy's going to do a werewolf movie, which will probably be.
You're talking about Robert Eggers?
Yeah, Robert Eggers. Yeah, he's going to do a werewolf.
So yeah, that's right. I see this now. I'm looking at his filmography right now. So yeah, I've watched his first 3 movies, and all of them, I don't know if I love any of them, but they're real art. And I like that. They make you think, and even if you don't like it, at least you can have a nice conversation about it. The Witch from 2015, The Lighthouse, and The Northman, which was more of an action movie, not a horror movie. But I gotta tell you, do you remember The Witch, John? Did you watch The Witch?
I did. I didn't find it scary, but I loved the language. That guy can write.
Me too.
Dialogue. It's stunning how well he does the same thing in Nosferatu. No one can top that. He's just amazing at that.
Incredible attention to detail. I heard him interviewed once, and literally every morsel on the set, every piece of not just dialogue, every costume, every prop, everything is completely precise to whichever era he's depicting. And I think that's really, I love that. Cause I've got hypervigilance disorder. I think it's like diagnosable. So I love that stuff because anything you notice in there is going to be intentional. And I just think that's awesome. But I got a note here, and those of you who've seen The Witch, you will certainly agree with this. I can promise. We need a sequel. It's just got to be about Black Phillip. Say Black Phillip, the demonic goat, one of the greatest characters. We do not get enough Black Phillip in that movie. I need more Black Phillip, and I want to live deliciously. And some people will know the reference because it's time to live deliciously, like Black Phillip.
The only other movie I can think of from this century that I really liked is a found footage movie called The Last Exorcism. It's about 90 minutes long. It is, and the first time I saw it, it terrified me. And it's about a Southern preacher, maybe not a Southern preacher, but he comes off as a Southern preacher. If you know who Marjo Gortner is, he's kind of like that. And he's lost his faith, but he does exorcisms. Yeah. And he decides he's not going to do them anymore. So he hires a documentary crew to come with him. He's going to show them how he fakes exorcisms and convinces people who really weren't possessed that he's cured them. And everything goes, hey, well, I don't want to ruin any of it, but it is
wow, that's amazing, because I haven't even heard of this, and I am looking at it now. It did $70 million in the box office on almost no budget.
It's fantastic. It's just
wow, terrible. Great. Adding that to my list. See, this is good. You always get a deep cut with John. You're always going to get a deep cut. He'll give you the low hanging fruit, but then he'll give you the deep cut. Like that's true populist, because you're here for the people who need a deep cut, and you're here for the people who have maybe I'll try one or two movies in October, and that's it for the year. So John's got your back. We'll have to do. I want to make you program a movie marathon, like a 12-hour movie marathon, and someone in the audience will watch it, and they got to tell me how to do it. They tell me how it went, because I think we need this, particularly for these Octobers, because it's so much fun. You've got so much knowledge, John, about all these films, because I'm shocked that there's a movie called Last Exorcism from 15 years ago. I hadn't even heard of it. What do you think of Ari Aster? Because he did Hereditary and Midsommar, and I think some of his movies are kind of conservative coded, but I haven't heard you ever talk about his stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen. What's the first one he did?
Hereditary. I
saw Hereditary, but I don't remember it. But I remember it was pretty good.
Yeah, I loved it. That's in my top tier for modern horror, but yeah, go ahead.
I actually own it. I just don't remember it for some reason. Yeah. But I know who's in it. Gabriel Byrne, and yeah, they got the model of the house, and they go, and it's kind of brilliant.
Yes,
and I loved Midsommar. I love the way it ended.
Yeah,
and it's hypnotic.
Yes, absolutely.
And I didn't see the one with Joaquin Phoenix with his mom, but I saw Eddington. I reviewed that for Breitbart, and I thought that was terrific. I thought that was what One Battle After Another should have been, which was a more nuanced and intelligent look at our present culture instead of, glorifying terrorism. So I think you're right. And he's got a conservative streak in him because the protagonist in Eddington, he's pretty conservative.
Yeah. So this is where let me cut in for a second just to catch up the audience. So Hereditary 2018, that is top tier for me, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 out of 10. Toni Collette's performance in that is just unbelievable. And I would recommend that to anyone, but it's horrifying. It's like legit horrifying. That's not the one to watch with your soft girlfriend or boyfriend in some cases. And Midsommar, you guys have all seen the memes. That was more memeable. It's daylight horror, which I really like. That one's got, I think, a little more humorous streak, even though it's pretty dark also in certain parts, but is really, really good. Not quite as good in my view, but pretty good. I have not seen the third one, which is Beau is Afraid. But Eddington, everyone is telling me, is really right coded. I haven't seen it though, but it's like conservative coded and I have not seen it. And again, Pedro Pascal has to be in it. You got to put him in it. Every movie he's in it. So, but is it like a right-wing movie? Because it didn't do any business. It lost a ton of money.
Yeah, he's but what I like about this is that he plays kind of a lefty dandy, and he's basically the antagonist in the movie, and it makes fun of the mask Nazis, and the shutdown Nazis, and it makes fun of their hypocrisy. So they make a little fun of the right, but I think it's almost like they threw that in there to
that's fine.
To appease the critics. But I thought Eddington was terrific. And then it takes a twist. I won't ruin it. It takes a turn about halfway through that you won't believe. And you're thinking, oh, okay, now I know, this is a sucker punch, but it doesn't end up being a sucker punch. It ends up being much more nuanced and intelligent than that, but it's entertaining as hell.
All right. Well, this is good. Well, John, we could do movies the whole show, and I don't want to do this. And if people want more movie talk, just email me aloha@alexmarlow.com and tell me you're enjoying the non-timely movie talk, because I do enjoy it, and it's enjoyable for me. I want to talk to you about the news, and I want to get your take on a few things that I've been interested in. One of them is the rebuilding of parts of the White House, the sprucing up of the White House, the adding a ballroom. This one feels like another trap that Trump set for the left, and they all walked into it. But let me get your take.
I love this story. It's just I love watching the left, including the media, make absolute fools of themselves going after Trump in the most petty, small-minded, dishonest and hypocritical way, because all they're doing is hurting themselves. That's all that they're doing. The same people that glorified tearing down statues, which was pure nihilism, are now, and the same media people, are now upset because some demolition is involved in a construction project where private donors are going to spend $250 million improving the White House with a long overdue ballroom. And it's just, they're so demoralized and desperate. They don't have anything. Trump has triumphed over them entirely. He continues to triumph over them. And this is all that they got. And they come off like sniveling little kids who wish that their parents get hit by a train. That's what they're coming off as. So this is my favorite story of the year so far.
So my take was this was a chance for the left to zag and say, yeah, he's going to build us a ballroom because we're going to win and we're never going to get back the White House, and we're going to be partying in Trump's ballroom that he built for us. Like, it felt like some chance to do something funny, and instead they're acting outraged over. And they're setting up all these false premises, like the White House cannot be touched at all. And the latest talking point that people are using, which I like, is that these are the same people who want to tear down statues of George Washington, but they can't update the White House. It just seems like a total airball again.
Yeah, I can't. And I think that what happened is that they said a few things about it in the media and the Democrats, and then Breitbart and other people just jumped on them. And we made fun of them. And then we cornered them in a situation where if they stopped doing it, they would be admitting that we got under their skin, or they'd be admitting that they shouldn't have done it. So now they're amping. I heard CNN spent like 4 hours on this yesterday. It led all their news shows. So now they're doing even more. And it's just fantastic. They're just in a they painted themselves in a terrible corner. And this was a chance for the Democrats to be gracious, to show unity and to say, listen, we appreciate the president's doing it. We think it's a great idea. And we can't wait to, like you said, give them a little tweak. But they have no sense of humor. And that's another reason that they're losing. We have the sense of humor and they have none. They have no sense of humor whatsoever. And people with no sense of humor will never defeat someone who has a sense of humor.
And this struck me a lot about the No Kings protest, which was another one where, of course, the absurd premise that a guy who won the popular vote, the Electoral College, all the swing states, and is governing on mostly 80-20, if not 97-3 issues, law and order, closing the border, not getting ripped off by other countries, bring manufacturing back, stuff like that. I mean, it's just obviously it's not a king, and yet they do the No King stuff. And then it's the lamest people on earth. Of course, there's the Q-tip joke, the whites with the white hair, but also it's beyond that. It's just even the people who are younger they're not appealing. They're very angry. A lot of them are violent, and they're pretty much rudderless. They don't seem to have a real leader of the movement or the cause. And no one can set them straight, it seems like.
No, and they're so lame. They're just lame. No one is watching that and going, oh, I'd like to hang out with them, or that looks like fun. They're just humorless, and they're unhappy, and they're bitter, and they're jealous, and they're just sore losers. That's what it all comes down to. It wasn't No Kings. It was sore losers. And then they turn around and they back Jay Jones. They try to moralize to us, and then they back a guy who wants a Republican to watch his children die, so he changes his political opinion. Or they back this guy in Maine with the Nazi tattoo. They're giving up all their moral authority, and it's good. And they've lost most of it anyways, because now we just laugh at the racism charge. But they're giving up all their moral authority by backing people like Jay Jones and this guy. I mean, you're going to back a guy who sported a Nazi tattoo for 20 years, and then you're going to criticize me over something. You're going to try and call me a racist. We will be hurling Jay Jones and Nazi tattoos in their face until the end of time. It's just fantastic.
Right. So let me set this up. I brought this up earlier in the week, but this guy, this Democrat candidate, whose name is Plattner, and he is Graham Plattner. He's an oyster farmer challenging Susan Collins in Maine, and he has a Nazi tattoo. So does that not make him a Nazi, John? How could you have a Nazi tattoo and not be a Nazi?
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at his Reddit history, the violence, the racism, the misogyny, the blaming women for getting raped. And, this isn't a 20-year-old guy. This is a guy who was in his late 30s when he did this. I mean, it's all there. Plus, now I'm seeing reports, and they're not verified yet, that he's training Antifa with weapons. The guy is violent. He's got he's just, but they stand by him. Bernie stands by him. And they're going to lose, and all their moral authority. Now they put all their chips in the middle to destroy Trump, and now they've got nothing left. Now they're taking off their clothes and betting on those, and betting on that, and it's just they just continue to destroy themselves.
They really do, and I don't think that they've got any ability to get the train back on the tracks. I want to get your updated thoughts on Kimmel. So Kimmel, obviously using his platform, which is government sanctioned, the ABC gets government spectrum. I've talked about this many times on the show, that it's blessed by the government to basically do Democrats bidding and to do political advertisements for Democrats. And so they take him off the air, and then they put him back on, and then he's back on, and then he immediately starts grooming the kids with drag queen person who's trying to prey on children, try to poison them against America. It's all really provocative and gross, even for Kimmel. So I want to know if you've any updated thinking on it. Where do you think we're at on this saga?
I really want to see the government do something about this, because if you don't even count the news, ABC gives Democrats, far left Democrats, 2 hours a day on our airwaves. And I understand it's the affiliates' airwaves. Let's not get pedantic about it, people in the comments. But they give them two unanswered hours a day on The View and Jimmy Kimmel to just fire away at us. And there is no equivalent anywhere else on ABC. And that doesn't include Good Morning America, George Stephanopoulos, the Sunday shows. and I would really, it's time. It's really time that they honor their contract to serve the public interest and not the Democrat Party's interest. But Jimmy Kimmel is he going to get renewed? That's my question. Is Disney going to renew him? And if they renew him, it's affirmative action because they just like the fact that he hates us because his ratings stink. And if Colbert's losing $40 million a year, Kimmel's ratings are about half Colbert's, and Colbert's suck. He's losing even more money. So the question is, are they going to renew him and just so that he can keep on throwing hate our way? And I wouldn't be surprised at all if they do. But Kimmel is he's imploding. He's hurting himself so much, and not just his public persona, but his soul. I mean, exposing kids to drag queens, that's demonic. And, someday he's going to have to pay for that.
And this seems to be the left is really leaning into demonic stuff. It seems like that's just happening more. The justifying of the Nazi tattoos, the celebration of killing children, which is what Jay Jones wants in Virginia, and none of them are distancing themselves. And they also are doing these other things. I became semi-obsessed with this Jen Psaki clip where she was on the far left podcast, and she was trying to break up JD Vance's marriage. Where she was trying to tell Usha Vance that you can blink 4 times, we'll come save you. That type of stuff is really biblically literate people would never do that. You would never try to break up a home. And so they're so, it's not just godless now. I really do feel like there's demonic possession going on the left right now.
Yeah. They painted themselves, they radicalized their base, starting with Obama, they radicalized their base. They created mostly these white women that are just hysterical and emotional, and they just want to feel good. They don't care about rationality. They just want to feel good, and they're kidnapped by their base now, and they can't moderate. They can't say, you know what, maybe we should deport illegal aliens. They can't even say we should deport illegal alien rapists. They can't even say that. So yeah, now they're stuck in a position where they got to appease their base, these awful people. And the only way to do that is they can't improve, they can't ascend, they can just descend further and further and further. And that's what that really is what you're seeing. And Jimmy Kimmel exposing kids to drag queens, it's just beyond the pale. And it was done on our airwaves. And, I am anti-censorship. If CNN wants to have drag queen story hour, they're on cable. That's fine. There's nothing you can do about that. But to use our airwaves to expose little kids to drag queens, no, something needs to be done about it. And I'm totally fine if the FCC starts revoking licenses, because that needs to happen.
Yeah, I agree. And I also feel like when you're using our airwaves to prey on children, I do feel like that's an extra level of not acceptable to me. I mean, to me, that's an extra level of, I don't see why we're tolerant, and we can't play games. We all play these games sometimes and take angles. This is not an angle. You can't have drag queens on our airways grooming kids. I don't think that's and he's daring people to do something about it because I think he feels like he's much more relevant as a provocateur on the political space than as a comedian, because he's no cultural clout. They're just talking in a increasingly small bubble amongst themselves on the left with no ability to break out of it. And this got to be very frustrating to them. And I just noticed that the MSNBC seems to be going to more older left-wing celebrities, Jeff Daniels, Robert De Niro, getting them out there to say hysterical stuff. It's just, who are they even talking to now?
Yeah. And they have, and Jimmy Kimmel has no sense of humor. He's losing his sense of humor too, and that's another thing. I mean, he's just a troll now. That's all he's doing is trolling, and they don't know what to do because they can't moderate. They can't do what Bill Clinton did in '92, which is pull the Democrats out of the brink. I mean, people are always surprised when I say this, but in the 21st century, we have won 3 out of 5 presidential elections. Now, the media would make it sound like, the Democrats are triumphing because we always heard about that. But we've won 3 out of 5. And it just tells you that Democrats, in their mind, how are they doing this? How are they, every time it has to be a fluke. It has to, it has to be Russia. It has to be this. They just don't know how to respond, and they can't moderate like they did with Bill Clinton because they'll lose their base. And Trump has stolen all of Bill Clinton's best ideas. Bill Clinton was for closing the border. He was pro-union, low tax, reform welfare. They can't do it now.
Yeah, and important to note, Trump loves to discuss, whenever you see him, the little room off the Oval Office where Bill Clinton was preying upon the interns. He will not be remodeling or destroying that part of the White House, just to let you know. No matter what you think of President Trump,
tell us more about
that historical
honoring the White House, Democrats. Tell us more when you back that guy.
Exactly. John, so next thing I want to get your take on, shutdown dynamics. You should have a clear eye on this. I have no idea what you're going to say here, so this is important. Who is winning the shutdown messaging war right now? Because Republicans have never won one, even when we've been completely righteous. We've never won a shutdown messaging war. Who do you think is the upper hand today?
I think House Speaker Mike Johnson nailed it when he said today that the reason that the media is not covering the shutdown is because Democrats are losing. And they know Democrats are losing. And there's no question that Democrats are losing. We've been, shut down almost 3 weeks now, and nobody cares. And I know it's affecting people, and I know that there's a time limit. There's a deadline coming up with the Obamacare subsidies. But everything has changed because since the last shutdown and the previous shutdowns, the corporate media is now castrated. They have no influence on public opinion. They can't move the needle. They have no credibility with normal people. All the corporate media does now is bring Jeff Daniels on to sing a really bad song, because all the corporate media does now is try to hit the sweet spot of the 400,000 people who still watch CNN and MSN.
Yeah.
So Trump and his people are so media savvy. They understand how new media works. They understand how social media works. They get their message out there. And in previous Republican presidents, when the media got ugly, a Republican would try to punish them by not giving them access. What does Trump do? He does 2 or 3 4-hour press conferences a day, and he just overwhelms them with his message. And he's emboldened Republicans, even Marco Rubio, who used to be a bit of a squish and has grown immensely. I'm so impressed with that guy. To get on the news and just tell it like it is. And they're not afraid of these people. So our message is getting through. The truth is getting through. And they can't, and they tried for a while. You watch the media try for a while to say there's no money for illegal aliens in there. And they just got bombarded with facts after that. And it's just been masterful. And I just hope it continues after Trump leaves office.
Yeah, me too. And it does seem like our bench is just so deep. It's just it's so interesting that we have so many rising stars, and they only have one. Zohran Mamdani. He's the star of the Democrat Party. Senator Sheehy was on the show earlier this week, and he suggested that he's the leader of the party. Chuck Schumer works for him now. I think that's true. What is your take on the Mamdani phenomenon?
It goes to what you said about how bad their bench is, because all they had is Andrew Cuomo, and Andrew Cuomo is a disaster, and that's their bench. The only guy they could find who could possibly be a communist. I don't use the word lightly. You don't hear me use that word a lot to describe people, but he is a communist. He's obviously an Islamist. He obviously plans to turn New York into London and into Dublin. By chasing away normal people and bringing in all the left-wing freaks, so Democrats will never lose power in that city again, and that's all that they got. So it's going to be the great thing about America is that we have 50 states. The great thing about America is that the Constitution gives states rights. So I can sit here in western rural North Carolina and I can watch New York implode. And, you get what you vote for, and that's what's going to happen. And he is the leader of the party, and AOC is the leader of the party, and Bernie is the leader of the party. And people are not going to go for, especially when we have such articulate superstars on our side. So once Trump is out of office, we have J.D. Vance, we have Scott Bessent, we have Marco Rubio, who can all make the case brilliantly, and you just can't see an AOC or a Mamdani or Bernie being able to get 50% of the vote nationally.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about how our top tier bench right now is Vance and Rubio, and they're both, miles ahead of any Democrat. But if you think about who would be, if for whatever reason both of them retired from politics, I mean, you've got Pete Hegseth, Tom Cotton, Senator Sheehy, Senator Hawley, Ted Cruz, Ron DeSanctimonious. I mean, there's so many people. The list just goes on and on. Governor Abbott. I mean, so many people who are so good. Bessent, obviously. I mean, it seems like half of the cabinet is ready to step up to the next phase. It's so many people, and not all of them are my exact brand of politics, but there's so many different stars that we have that we're bringing up, I think, to really be just a huge force for American dominance. And it's just so cool.
And not one of them do you have to worry about going on CNN, because they all handle themselves. They're so media savvy that they just handle themselves in ways that was unthinkable even 10 years ago. And that's an important thing. And Trump understood that. He understood how important it is to be able to go on out of This Week or a 60 Minutes and be able to triumph. And most of it is just not being afraid, not being intimidated by them, and knowing that they're clowns.
It's such a great point, because it used to be, I used to want to throw the remote at the TV whenever I would see a Republican pop up on CNN. And now, generally speaking, they get the better of the CNN anchors. So now it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Scott Jennings probably had more to do with that than we know. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we found out that Scott Jennings, who's a star on CNN, the only star on CNN, did a lot of media training, because he's outnumbered on that dumb Abby Phillips show 5-6 to 1 every night, and he just kills them. And he's the only reason people watch.
But I don't think they watch. I think they wait for the clips, which is best case scenario for us, because CNN doesn't get the ratings, but Scott gets a lot of positive attention, which is great, and then we get all the clips to share on our shows. Yeah, I think that's worse. I mean, that's the best.
Yeah, he's the guy. When you think about going on cable news, which I've only done a few times and I hate it, but when you think about going on cable news, you're fantasizing about it, how well you're going to do, but you usually do it after you're done and you're in the car humiliated. Scott does it in real time. And the guy's he's just a superstar. He's amazing.
Last one that I got for you, the NFL is trying to do exactly what Kimmel's doing, is trying to offend people. They got this guy, Bad Bunny, who's very popular, but, doesn't speak English and hates this country, or he speaks English, but he won't sing in English, and he hates this country. And we're going to give him literally the biggest stage in all of entertainment. And I just feels like another dare to see how outraged people can get. What's your thoughts here?
I don't understand why the NFL does it. I don't know why they feel so beholden to 25, 30% of the country. And but the sport is so popular, I guess unlike Hollywood, which, Hollywood doesn't give us a product that's so good that we forgive the woke stuff. But the sport of football is so popular that the NFL can do this stuff and people stick with it. I'm not a football fan. Every time I try to watch a football game, it's just commercials. I don't know how people can stand watching football with all the ads.
It's about 16 minutes of action. So I get it in the sense if it's a party or something, or you've got on the background while you're playing with kids or socializing with family and having some snacks. But it is interesting, because I do have friends in my life who every Sunday is dedicated to watching football all day, and every Saturday too. And I just can't. I can't do. I haven't done it since the Kaepernick stuff. I retired from watching.
Yeah, my wife. Until the Kavanaugh stuff, she loved football, and she would watch it, and I would just go in the other room and watch something else. But she was watching the last part of a game a couple weeks ago, and it was just ads. It was just when things we get close, we're down to the last 20 seconds, and then we go to 4 minutes of ads. So, but football is that popular, and that they can survive that. But I like that the TPUSA is going to do an alternative halftime show, and let's see how that works out. People can always change the channel, and that's the beauty of new media. We can now program against them, and have a big enough format and distribution, and advertising that maybe it'll make a difference. That would be
for me though. The real competition is the Puppy Bowl, because that's what I would throw on, where they get the puppies playing during the Super Bowl halftime show. It feels like things are moving in a positive direction culturally, but then all of a sudden you get this, Kimmel just insisting we're still doing the drag groomer stuff, and the NFL just spitting in the eye of their own audience. And you just wonder, it just reminds you, John, you can never rest on your laurels. We can no longer have peacetime footing. We have to have wartime footing, and we got to be happy warriors, but we've got to really go and keep kicking the left's ass every day. Like, we have to.
Yeah, definitely. And enjoy ourselves while doing it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Anything else on your mind before I let you run?
Nope. Just hope everyone enjoys their Halloween and watches a lot of horror movies. Horror movies are the best. Yeah.
Well, look, if we get good enough feedback to the show, we'll do a part 2 next week. So you get some more recommendations out to people before the big day. The big day.
Let me know in advance, and I'll prepare.
No, I know. I gotta make it a game. I gotta get you. I gotta feel like I think maybe I'll get you to program either a triple feature or a 2 to 2 marathon, 2 p.m. 2 a.m. marathon. I mean, I bet you could have some real fun with that. But you know what? It was fun just to get the flow going today. That's good enough. All right. Thanks, Misty. Thanks, John Cassio, for pulling clips, and all of you in the audience. And we'll talk to you next time.